you don't have to build links to every single blog post. You just have to connect them well and then understand how the link juice will flow from the big one to the little ones.
Before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Ahrefs. Ahrefs provides you with an all-in-one SEO toolset that does everything from rank tracking to backlink analysis, keyword research, and technical audits. The best part, you can now use Ahrefs Webmaster Tools for free to identify and prioritize optimization opportunities for your website, see all the keywords that your web pages are ranking for, take a close look at the websites that link back to and refer you in their content, and analyze other websites to find out what drives their rankings. Visit ahrefs.com/AWT and sign up for free. And now, back to today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SaaS SEO Show. I'm your host, George Kasiotis, and today I'm very happy to be joined by Milosz Krasiński. Milosz is the managing director at Chilli Fruit Web Consulting. Prior to the acquisition of Chilli Fruit Web Consulting, he has been involved in digital growth by using link building, outreach, and digital PR methodologies for Plus Guidance, an early stage UK startup now acquired, and Sigma digital marketing agency based in Oxfordshire. Milosz and I are connected for quite some time now, and I'm very happy to be welcome you here. Welcome, Milosz.
Thank you, George. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you again now digitally. First time we met was in Cyprus, thanks to Alexandra Tachalova for organizing Mastermind, and yeah, that's what it is. You meet people offline, and then you take them online. And
yeah, that's
hence,
great.
This is why we have a meeting today.
Yeah, and I think it's more preferable than to meet people digitally and just keep it there. I mean, it's great to meet people in person and then get to meet them again or speak digitally like we do now. So as I do with every guest here at the podcast, I would like to ask you to share a few things about your background, even though I shared just like bits of information in the intro. So anything you can share with us about your journey and how you ended up doing what you do today, it would be really a great way to start this conversation.
Okay, sure. So how far do you want me to go to details? Because it can be like long journey.
You can go as far as you want to go, even from the beginning.
Right. So it says that prior to acquisition, but before I did the acquisition with actually Web Consulting, it was my friend of mine. He was running the Chilli Fruit Web Consulting. He was like a very little agency in London, and that time in 2010 he was specializing, you could say, in web design, because web design that time was in demand. People wanted to have websites. WordPress was just in there. It was quite easy to start to build websites. Then he just kind of gave up with it, and then he said, "Look, Milosz, you are very technical. You have a clients in host. You've got clients. You do hosting. You do SEO, and you also did websites. I don't want to run this anymore. Do you want to acquire my company?" And I said, "Depends what clients you have. But we've been very good friends, and then end up to be a very good deal for me. And this is why then he started his own application. He raised the funds, and we're still friends. And then I was helping him. But even before that, I was a recording engineer, sound engineer. I actually studied in London, and I was trying to push my career into that. Very unlucky with that. I just find out that sitting in recording studios, with no lights, and I just see this big recording consoles. It was very boring, and I don't know. And I just found that digital marketing was fine. By accident, I found it. I was in a little recording studios, and the boss said to me, "Apparently, you're an engineer." I said, "Well, I am. I mean, sound engineer." Okay, but the engineers usually they have this kind of mindset that they can fix the you know specific troubles. And then I and he had like he wanted to say Google something like Google Analytics. He said, "Can you connect them?" I can have a look. Then you know, I just realized that for connecting these, then you can get quite a lot of money. Or building website like WordPress. That's what he said as well. Can you help me with the WordPress? And I said, yes, fine. So that's how I become digital. And I just got interested in that. And then was, I think, before Upwork, then we used to have Odesk, right?
Yeah, it
And
was. Yeah.
yes, so Odesk, and then I checked on Odesk what what does it mean, like how to connect Google Analytics, build a website in WordPress for me. So I just got really into that. Um, got quickly some clients. So first I was building websites for them. Then they were asking me, okay, we need a hosting, we need a website. Okay, this is done. And I was thinking, this is just one off. I need recurring. I need the clients all the time. Just realize what does it mean recurring model. Like it's very important to run the business. So and the client they said, like, fine, Milos, you're great with building websites, but we need to be visible on Google. I said, okay, well, we find out how to do this. And then, you just got another service to implement. And basically, it's been like that for years and years until I decided that link building, it's what clients really ask for because they can get easy websites, they can get technical audits easy, they can get SEO quite easy because there's so many people doing that, but not many people specializing, let's say, for SaaS companies. So it took me years, like let's say 10 years, to get into that stage that SaaS, it's what I like. I also like other niches, but it's a different topic for that. And then yeah, and then you keep specializing until you just finally you've got your shape, and then you've decided this is my specialization. I like doing just that.
So nowadays
Yeah.
you do link building for SaaS companies, right?
Yes.
How do you see link building change over the years? Because you're doing this for a while now, and I mean, how is link building different today than what it used to be five years ago?
It's just getting harder because there's much more competition. Um, so there's more SaaS, more companies, and more people, right? And I don't see that much many other websites. Like they just do not grow that, like so quickly. Let's say if you are in a very specialized space, there just about I don't know 100 or maybe 200 or 300 places where they are relevant for the actual niche. Maybe up to 400. If we're talking about the high quality, you see where I come from. There are not that many websites. I also did that with analysis with SEMrush, and they sent me the full catalog of all the domains in the UK. And if I remember correctly, I just wanted to see how many websites are in the UK with the actual UK primary traffic, organic traffic. And there was not that many of them. Like if you're looking for just websites to reach out and they have over 100,000 organic search, there was maybe about them 6 or 5 thousand domains. There's not that many. You see where I come from. Like you see, the internet is quite huge, but if you are very selective, and then you find out you can hit the wall quite quickly. So at one point, this is good because you have those relationships with you built with them. You with those websites, with those domains, with those people. You've got partnerships, and then it's easy for you to do that, right? Because people know you. You've been in this business for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And yes, you see where I come from. So it's going to be very hard for the new ones and very easy for the old ones. So at some point it's easier, at some point it's harder. That's how I've realized that the link acquisition is more about partnership and making friends with those people, not only just exchange link and so on and so on. So you see where I come from.
Yeah, so it's a people's game, and like you have to build these relationships and maintain them, and this can pay dividends as you like continue to invest in these relationships. Apart from that, what else, based on your experiences working with SaaS companies, what other elements would you say consist a like successful link building campaign for a SaaS company? Is it besides relationships? Is it content? Is it something else? Is it brand?
Well, definitely all of those. And then it's easy if you have a big brand and if you have good content, and then you have a content that is recognizable, and it's just normal. Like people will come to you, and then you don't have to do much. It's true. They will come to you, and then you can do whatever you really want. You can be picky, but that's when you are on the top. But you know, if you are on the top, it's easier, right? Because you've already been there for the last 10 years, let's say, as a SaaS. But if you are a new one, a new SaaS, and you just, let's say, you're starting off, maybe you are in the third year of the business, then you're actually having actual growth, because for the first 3 years, you will have to do some other techniques to gain first acquisition, traffic, traction. And once you have your projections, then you can invest into like organic traffic, SEO, because it's a very long game anyway. So I would say that once you have attractions and everything, then you can start building campaigns, very specific ones. But sometimes, again, you have to be very careful with if you narrow yourself too much. Then at one point it can be good because at least you are like that's what people are saying these days. That if you have a content, especially SaaS, each SaaS has his own environment. So they have to write the content that is around those topics, right? And therefore, the campaign can be successful as well if you are just specialized in that one narrow, I would say, ecosystem or of those keywords. And then you have your topical authority. But sooner or later, you have to go and look for other things just to expand the content. And this is why I think that gets harder, because the more content you have, also I'm sure you've realized it's getting difficult to make a successful link building campaign if you just have too many pages, blog post and blog post and blog post, and most of them they don't get any links, they don't acquire that many links, and it's difficult to promote something that is not, let's say, sexy. Let's put it this way,
Yeah.
It's not interesting, it's not relevant, or it's been just refined. So I would say that the very successful link building campaign should consist a pillar page that that also has like my main content that also has in the background other, let's say, short blog posts that are linking to this pillar page, to one, to this one big pillar page. And that one pillar page can also have, let's say, infographic. And I think this is rich. Video, infographic, and a big content. It's something that usually it's very easy to link to it. And then link juice will split from the main pillar content to the others. So you don't have to build links to every singular blog post. You just have to connect them well and then understand how the link juice will flow from the big one to the little ones.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point. I would like to follow up with something that you mentioned regarding the stage. Do you think that there is actually a stage at which after that stage a SaaS company should consider investing in link building? For example, if there is a company that's very early stage, they haven't reached a product market fit yet, and they come to you and they're like, Milosz, we want to invest in link building. Will you advise against it? Like, you know what, you are in a very early stage, go do something else, go find product market fit customers to give you feedback to see if this is like the right use case for your product, and then come to me when you have a foundation so I can amplify that? Or would you say it doesn't matter?
I would say it does matter on the budget, because if they have a spare budget, it depends how they are being financed, and if they have at that stage, at that very early stage, if they have some, let's say, budget, let's say, I don't know, 3% or 5% out of the funds, let's put this way, maybe 2,000 euros per month, at still they're going to build links to their homepage or to something, but at least they will start being notified by Google. Even Google will notice that your domain is growing because of authority. So by the time that you will grow, it also will take time. So you can amplify that already, but it depends how well or how the CEO is good with the funds. If they can manage the funds and they can say, okay, this is what we have for this entire year. We are going to invest that little, and it's okay. Then once we prove to our investors that we have the traction, and then yes, we can change we can rebuild the strategy, or maybe we can put more add-ons, because strategy usually is there, and you can always add add-ons. So another add-on could be more content, another add-on could be more people, another add-on could be link building, another add-on could be link building via Haro. You see where I come from? So it's just add-ons, it's just adding up, but what's necessary and slowly. I'm a fan of organic, so natural, organic, slow. I like slow and not too fast, but this is the problem, when you have 1 year or 2 years, then you have to be very quick to do that product marketing fit. And yes, so link building, it's not good in that stage. It's once you already have some sort of, let's say, background, you have some sort of authority, your clients, your marketing channels, and I think it's where you feel that you can ask for more funds, let's put this way. So Series A, Series B, Series C, that's what SaaS do, and
that makes sense. Yeah,
everything is proven. The investors will give you money once you prove that whatever you've told them last year, you've proven that, so they can have much more, they feel that you deliver that, right? That's what they can call you postman, like he delivers.
Yeah, that's a good one. Any mistakes that you see SaaS companies do when it comes to link building?
Lack of focus. It says like they have their funds and they need to spend it. That's what usually happens when they go to the series A, B, C, D, further they have, and they just have to spend it, because how it's like with the marketing. Sometimes they have to spend it and they don't know what to do with it because they have a little bit too much, which is great. And usually they leave that at the end and they spending on the link building, which is wrong, because that's how they're supposed to have that for the entire year rather than at the end of the year, the spending. It does happen quite often, which is still fine, because you still have to spend your marketing funds, but I would suggest that it's a very long game. So just define the amount, the budget that you want to run for this year, and just keep it, be very be very specific to that. And why I think SaaS companies do the problem is when they just spending money without being very specific, and they said, oh, you're a link building company, can you just get me links, So rather than just get me links, it's also your job as a CEO or maybe a marketing manager that you have to choose what URLs, what blog posts are very specific and important for you. So that those URLs already bringing the traffic and they converting. And this is why you can measure the LTV as well, which is very important. So you have those metrics. So build links to to those very specific pages. And another mistake is what I see, they keep asking to build links to service pages. That's a classic one. People they will find you through the blog posts because they keep asking for something, they're searching. So if your blog post has got a good search intent, has got intent, and that intent answers the question, they will stay, they will read, and then the journey will happen. They discover the first blog post, they go further. That's how they engage with your website. They probably sign up for newsletter and so on and so on. So link it to the blog posts, because they deliver the traffic, they deliver the value. It's what people actually search for. So that's what, people don't search for like landing pages. They don't, unless the landing page will appear in the search results, which is now these days even rare, I would say, because it's more difficult, and because Google understands that this is more sales, their direct sales. They want to see that user has started the journey by searching specific problem. He find out on this blog post, then he might refine his search and he might go further and further, and that's how it is. That's why Google understands this game. So they want to be in the position where the user is being served properly. Like that's their search intent. That's it. They found it. That's it, and he's happy.
Can I ask something though? Let's say a company comes to you and they have a content inventory of like 500 blog posts, and they have somehow an idea of like, these are the blog posts that drive revenue for us through their CRM and product analytics software. I mean, where do you get started? Like, is everything that you focus on revenue and where the money comes from? This is the pages we are going to build links on, or are there any other factors that you take into consideration? They come to you and they are like, Milosz, we need your help to help us not only build links, but figure out what pages we need to build links, to. Is it going to be just revenue you're going to like take a look into, or is it something else?
I cannot tell about the revenue, because you cannot predict that, what kind of revenue will be out of, let's say, the traffic. That's a little bit too far.
No, I mean, sorry. Let me clarify. Yeah. I mean, about historic data. They have historic data that, these 15 blog posts out of the 500 are the revenue drivers for us. So is this for you like, okay, these are the pages we are going to build links to?
Yes, as long as they have actual chances to rank for. Because if the competition is already there, and I can check who is the big player in the top 5 for this kind of keyword, or for like, it's not for the keyword, it's for this space, let's put it this way, because there's no more keywords. This doesn't exist. That used to be 5 years ago for a keyword, right? We rank for the search intent, let's put it this way, these days. So for this space, if you want to be in that space, and then I can see these are the top 5 players and you are top 10, I can also tell how many links they've built for the last 12 months. So I can see the link velocity. So it's easy to tell how far you're going to be, or how fast you need to be to get there. And the question is, do you really need that? Because maybe there are some possibilities that you need to just, rather than optimizing for your main, I would say main space, rather than main space, choose a feature that you have. Usually SaaS has a main, let's say, like a component, and that component solves the problem, right? But usually that sooner or later, each SaaS build a feature. Feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, feature 4, feature 5. And those features are very new. So why don't you build a content around those features, and trying to get there rather than focus on where the other are, because if there's too many people already out there, you might be too late. And I think sometimes it's too late. So it's going to be very slow, very cost effective, very expensive, not going to be cost effective. And you might not see results. And even if you do see results, the other problem is going to be that you need to keep that budget to maintain, because it's very easy to get out of this space. Okay, you've built it. What now? You need to maintain. So it's going to be also very expensive. And as we know with the marketing, year by year, the marketing expenses are getting more and more and more, so that it's become very expensive. So sometimes I think what we do for the SaaS, we try to navigate. Okay, here this is a good chance. These keywords, they haven't been yet. That there's no content around. You see that there's a possibility to rank for it, to do something about it, to drive some traffic to this, and let's see how this is going to work. So, but very specific. Be better to be very specific. Maybe this is maybe you need a good pillar page, one good pillar page that actually serves all those questions. What people are searching for. So it can be that feature. The specific new feature for this new SaaS. So it could be that, so it depends how fast you really want that. And it depends if you have budgets, and it depends if it's not too late, because it's not like that. If the space is being taken by players, and they have been, you can check via SEMrush, for example, how long those guys have been in the top 5 for, let's say for 1 year, for 12 months, and they static. So that means that the top 5 doesn't change. You're probably not going to get there.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And then do you think that in cases like this, where a SERP is not so volatile, let's say, that it's better not to mess with it and say that, what, let's leave this and focus on another page, because you can see here that these websites have dominated the SERP for quite some time now, and we don't have any chances? Do you think it's better to do it that way?
It depends. As I said, there's no better or wrong. That depends on your needs and your wishes. If you have such great team, if you have let's say people that can write and optimize the content all the time, because writing new content is one thing. What are you going to do with the content that you've already written? This is another thing that people do, like especially SaaS. They write. They don't go back and they don't optimize. So they have like a large scale of content and good, like a space, a big space. They can cover those. They've already covered lots of keywords, but they do not come back. They do not re-optimize. So you would have to have, again, another person, right? For that person is going to re-optimize those pages. So that's constant. Yeah, you see where I come from. So, okay, you have a strategy to build the content. You have a strategy to build links. Then what you're going to do with those old links? What you're going to do with those old pages? So it's another person. So yeah, you would need a budget. You would need to have a budget. But budget is one thing, and great team for sure. Dedicated people, they love it.
Yeah, it's an operation. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Can I ask you? You kind of touched on that earlier, but I would like to know: can you actually quantify the needs a company has, let's say, for specific pages in terms of link building? In other words, can a company answer the question, how many links do we need to get to position X, assuming that the opportunity is there? Can you, like, in round numbers, tell them that, what, we should build, like, I don't know, 40 to 60 links to say that we have chances of getting, higher and getting the visibility that we want?
Yes, that's possible to say that. If let's say this URL, this blog post, which the company has been already written, and they say, like, oh, we know that this is our chance, we just need more links. The content is great, we just need to move it further in the SERPs. And if I see this, I can evaluate, this is great. It's really good. I can see that also that you have supporting pages that are being linked to this. Then yes, I would say, yeah, probably you only need the links, and then maybe just from time to time come back to this page and keep optimizing. There are keywords that keep appearing, week by week, month by month. You can see that in Ahrefs or in SEMrush. The type with that URL, and you can see, oh, it's been in SERP for 1 year. How many keywords actually brought in the top 100? And those keywords, that means that they need to be in that content. So yeah, I would say, if I see this, then I will say that, okay, probably you need 20, 30 good links, and But even after 3 months, I would say, within 3 months, you can see already that something is moving. If nothing is moving in after 3 months or 6 months, let's say, the worst, I would say, and the blog post is not it's not a difficult one, then must be something wrong. It could be a filter, it could be something else, right? It has to be a reason, because if the links do not move the needle, it could be either the competition. So, which is why I would say no, because the competition is too high. So that's not going to happen. We have to choose something that is fresh, something that it can be moved easily. You see, like you just build great, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40 links, and then you can tell that, okay, this is moving the needle. Let's be focused on that. But again, let's be focused. Do not change the course. I have had that situation, so it was great. And then suddenly the founder just realized, look, we are already in the top 3. We can change that budget. Let's change another URLs. So we did that. And then it happened, you stopped building links to the one URL and then dropped.
Yeah.
Because if you're not building links, that other people, they realize that, it's just that you're not doing anything. So it's very important to have that in mind, that if you're very focused, then be focused, but don't go too fast, don't go too slow, but just have that. Let's say, I don't know, if you say 10 links, okay, let's keep that 10 links per month. You see where I come from? Don't change the velocity. Today, I don't know, I need 100, and one day I need 100 for another URL. I mean, I saw this and I haven't seen any negative impact. Digital PR is a very good example. Sometimes you have a good infographic, and when you publish a good infographic, can go can become very popular. And once become very popular, people linking it, right? It has happened. It's like a great evergreen content and so on. So sometimes you just get tons of links in a very specific period of time, and then do you see any negativity out of this? No. So see where I come from. So
I get it.
Yeah.
I think that a thing that's missing from many discussions around link building is ROI. And I have many friends, who run link building agencies or business owners that buy services from link building agencies. And a common theme in most of these discussions is that link building as an activity cannot be tied to business outcomes and specifically ROI. And my question to you is, can you do that somehow? And how can you make the case for SaaS companies that want to invest in links but need to justify the investment internally first? Is there a way to do that?
Yes, we did that with Brand24 is our client, and I spoke with the CEO, Sadek, that's his nickname, and I said, look, we need more data to this URL. We believe that there is something. So can you just ask the business intelligence, your team, what we need first is, out of this traffic, we need to know what is the cost per acquisition. And then, okay, I'll find it. So cost per acquisition. Then after that, once you have cost per acquisition, I need to know what's the LTV, lifetime value. So for every sign up you have, I want to understand the cost per acquisition. Then I want to understand lifetime value out of this sign up. How long is going to use your services, and what will be the value? Because it can be enterprise. It can be, let's say, few clicks, few signups, but those clicks become enterprise. They become an enterprise client, right? So they can pay a lot of money. Usually the SaaS pricing has 4 models, four pricing stages, right? I want to understand how much this given URL has produced, how many signups at what CPA, and what's the LTV. Then I can measure, okay, so this is simple for me, guys. You've spent this for the last year, but that's how much you've earned. And they see that, well, yeah, again, yeah. So the 10, 20%, 30% we can reinvest again and again and again. It makes sense, isn't it? So you can do so. You just have to have good analytics, I would say, as well. So to measure that. But again, first you need to have a traffic, and once you have a traffic, you can have those conversations. So we've had a hypothesis that this particular keyword is going to be trendy for the next 10 years, because the way how we realize is in the SERPs, first people asking, they put white papers. When these white papers, it's more like university stuff. It means something this like AI. You remember AI? AI 10 years in the SERPs. AI was like maybe something in the future, but people weren't focused on AI 10 years ago. Type in AI in, let's say, SEMrush, and compare SERPs the last 10 years. You see the different SERPs, different results. People were searching white papers. People were like very curious about it, but they didn't know that they can monetize this. Now we have tons of AI startups, tons of AI cryptocurrencies, tons of AI, let's say, content editors or content writers like a GP3, right, or Jarvis, and so on. So, and then OpenAI we have as well, right? So you see where I come from. You have to already take always a risk, but you can hypothesize. You can set the hypothesis. It's most of the startups they do hypothesis. They say, if we have this, if we go to the market with that, what, will it be that? Just see where I come from. Like if I have this service or this product, will people be interested? Like you have to first understand the audience, and that's how you do the tests, product market fit, and so on. You can do the same with the blog posts. You can produce the content, and then you see how it's actually performing. If it's performing for, let's say, for the last 6 months, and you see the keywords are being visible, more keywords being visible for this URL in the top 100, just more of those. They don't have to rank for the top 10. There is more of them. That means that there's something going on in that space as well. So it's a good trick. So to answer your question, you can set a hypothesis. You can start from the very beginning. You need to have obviously a time. You need to be ahead of it. And yes, you can measure. Once you have a traffic, you can set the CPA. You can then have LTV. And startups are very good at measuring cost per acquisition, because cost per acquisition is probably one of the questions that investors will ask. What's your cost per acquisition and what's the LTV? So they understand. What's your churn rate? You see, so like, I think they're very good at that, and it wouldn't be hard to just do the ROI out of the. Obviously, it's hard to say. Look, if the investor will ask you, can you tell me when you're gonna be in the next 3 years with this, with your startups? I'll give you money. But it's same. It's like CEO of the SaaS asking the link building company, can you tell me when we're gonna be in the 1 year time if I give you this and that? Like you cannot. Obviously, you cannot.
Yeah.
We just had this three the most unpredictable things for the last few years. One, Brexit. People thought, no, Brexit not happen. It did happen. COVID. No, it's just some virus. Nothing gonna happen. It's not gonna be big. It's gonna be quick. 2-3 years, more than that. You see, it just upside and down everything. Then we've got this situation with the war. Everything is, you can see NASDAQ down, Bitcoin down, all the altcoins down. Everything is down, So you see that you can tell that you cannot predict what's going to happen in the next 1 year, especially now.
Definitely not. Definitely not. A question I have for you, quick one, follow up to that. Does the vertical affect the price per link? Meaning that if we are talking about a space where competition is more intense and SERPs are more saturated, maybe even to go back to what you were sharing with us, about all these interesting things, CAC and LTV and so on. The LTVs are higher because we are talking about an enterprise SaaS. Does that affect the price per link? Or you would say that, no, I mean, it's like pretty much the same thing that we would do for any other SaaS company. It doesn't matter that it's an enterprise SaaS.
It's a very good question, actually. To be honest with you, no, it doesn't affect you. Most of the time, pricing and let's say pricing and inflation rate does not exist that much in the internet. It's true, isn't it? So let's say you are dealing or selling something on the internet. Usually those prices are not being affected by inflation rate. That's why I realized, okay, we do have those paid guest posts, right? We know this space. It's a different link building business because you just buy it, right? You buy it. This is a publication. I buy it. That's it. Simple. But think about it. Even those guys, they actually offer paid guest posts and they're making money out of that. They are not being affected by the inflation, not so much unless because you see, like why I'm saying this, because the prices are still there. They always been high and they didn't change that much. So I think it's what has changed is obviously you need to pay your specialists, like link builders, like they specialize, it's a time, right? So I would say, to answer to your question, no, I think the budget will kind of like a little bit go up, but not that crazy, like 30-40%, like that's what we have these days, because of the inflation. The prices for the food, for the petrol, they went up. I don't think that this happened in the link building space. It's all you have to do is you just have to be in that long, very game. So just keep spending, but or keep investing, I would say, because it's not spending, it's actual investment. Let's put it this way: every link you build is your digital asset. It will remain, it will stay in the space, in the internet. It normally doesn't break, it doesn't go off unless people will remove it, but you can track that, can you? You can track those links as well. So these are digital assets. So I think founders supposed to think about links as not necessarily like as verticals as well, as you wish, but also as digital assets. We need more assets.
That's a great way to put it.
We need more shares.
Yeah.
Like your space in the Google is like let's say you buy Google shares via broker. I don't know, you buy shares at $20. I think when I was I don't forget. I remember that I've checked SEMrush how much is if you want to buy shares of SEMrush or something. I'm very curious about that, as well. Some SaaS, once sooner or later, or they become very big, sooner or later they will be on can be on NASDAQ. I think Brand24, I think they did quite a good journey. I think you can see them on you can even trade as well with their shares, something like that. There's most the companies, they were little, they become big, and then you can think of it as a digital assets or shares. So you need more shares in your internet space for those keywords, for this search intent, for those guys they searching this. So it's like that, I would think. So it's not necessary just to think of the verticals. I think they are quite static, in my opinion, but static in the sense that you cannot break them. Like if you start with the link building, keep having it for quite good some time, and I think do never break it, because once you start it doesn't look good for the Google, I think, in my opinion, because they see that you stop it. Why? So there must be a reason.
I understand, and I've never thought about it that way. Yeah.
It's like people stop buying Bitcoin. What's going to happen?
Yeah, the price is going to go down. The value is going to be like depreciated.
Yeah. So if the value is being depreciated on the, let's say, NASDAQ, or in Bitcoin. The same can happen in Google. I mean, it's kind of like very normal. I understand they have this algorithm and everything, relevancy, and yes, it does matter. So Google can think, well, you're not building links. Maybe you're not become popular. Maybe you're not trendy. Maybe you're not. You don't have the content that actually answers the search intent.
Okay, that's a good way to think about it, and I've never thought about it that way. So that's interesting. Now I would like to start wrapping things up, and I have one last question for you, and that would be: do you think that link building will still be relevant in 5 or 10 years from today?
It will definitely change. It's going to be much more difficult. It will be saturated like every other new thing in the internet. We used to have Bitcoin, right, 10 years ago. Now it's kind of like saturated, you could say. I mean, you can make money out of Bitcoin, let's put it this way, but it's not going to grow like 14,000%, right? Maybe you have a Google, right? Think of Google, see the Google. Like when Google started 2004, it was a very fresh new thing. Now the shares going up all the time on the market. It's a very good analysis prediction, you can tell. But eventually, it will stabilize. You know, it will be static. It will be more. It will be more popular, conventional. It will be. I think it's already now a conventional marketing tactic. One of those lines. You know, so like you have a digital marketing, newsletter, content, PPC. What else you have? Word of mouth. Right, social media. For each of those, they already had, you know, that their own time of popularity. And link building has been already popular for this quite some time. I don't think, especially SaaS now, because there's more SaaS, more people, and they are more educated and aware of importance of that. That is become like a ever-going tactic, I would say. It's not longer needed. It's not longer a luxury. It's just it has to be written, or like you know, when you have your marketing budget. So you say, this is PPC, this is newsletter, this is content, and this is link building, and that's for entire. We need to have that. These are the basics of these. There's not a new form of marketing. It's just these are the basics. You need to have them anyway. And anything new, it's like it can be maybe trendy. You know, usually there are some trends, but link building had never been a trend. It's been an always ongoing thing that people actually need that. Sooner or later, they will realize that there is a value. It's just very difficult to see that, because you have to invest quite a lot to see that first. And also, link building is not just that. Out of the link building, you can see the results. It's a component. It cannot go without the good content. Good product, they will also be marketed by themselves, right? Because they are a good product. So the link building will help, but it cannot help to grow you if your product, if your SaaS is just not successful and you're not doing anything to promote it, right? So
that's that's a great way to end. I mean, we could go on for hours with these topics, but I guess we are ready to close this episode. Milosz, it has been very interesting to have this discussion with you. Last question I have for you: where can people find out more and reach out?
LinkedIn. I don't think you can find out more, because I'm not on LinkedIn I mean, I am on LinkedIn, but I'm reading in people. I don't post anything, but I have to start to making those screenshots. Oh, this went up. This is my work for the last 10 years. You know, I can see these screenshots, you know, and like how people do this. It's great. It's great. And I think I'm going to copy, I'm going to be a copycat of that. And probably I'm going to do those things on LinkedIn, so people actually can see that I'm doing anything about it. So yeah, LinkedIn, reach me out on LinkedIn, Twitter as well. But ideally, email me, milosz@chillifruit.com. I'm an email guy. I will reply even today.
Okay, that's great. That's that's great and very specific. Milosz, thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Thank you for having me.
Before you go, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor for this episode, Ahrefs. Ahrefs provides you with an all-in-one SEO toolset that does everything from rank tracking to backlink analysis, keyword research, and technical audits. The best part, you can now use Ahrefs Webmaster Tools for free to identify and prioritize optimization opportunities for your website, see all the keywords that your web pages are ranking for, take a close look at the websites that link back to and refer you in their content, and analyze other websites to find out what drives their rankings. Visit ahrefs.com/AWT and sign up for free.